Good afternoon and welcome to all you beautiful beings of the universe. Welcome to the Blue House, the Blue House Secrets. Today we are with the beautiful Miss Lungi and me, your host, Charles. Today we're focusing on a very important segment, and we're focusing on ancient civilizations, spirituality, and how all of these are connected. So the concept is we're trying to find where the missing link is, because there's a lot of information that's missing from our ancestors and ancient civilizations and all ancient texts and all of that. And the purpose of this is to find a common understanding of what true spirituality is, through understanding what happened in the past and where our current understandings and our notions and our religious beliefs and all of that come from. And different angles to it. I feel like everybody knows what their own particular spirituality is. And welcome, firstly. Yeah, very nice to have you. Welcome. The reason why I feel that you're the perfect person to come through, right? I met you a few minutes to an hour or so.
Yep.
And yeah, pretty interesting, understanding what type of person you are. And, just trying to look at how we as a civilization understand spirituality, as a whole. And obviously, there's different angles behind what spirituality actually is, because it's also rooted in our cultures and our traditions and all the heritage, So, I think where I would start with this, like just to start an angle. I feel like spirituality at some level, because based on my own personal experience, I grew up religiously. I'm in a religious family, and we were all Christian. And there were certain beliefs that we believed, and those beliefs that we had. You're part of the new age, and you're very curious. And you try to understand what it actually is. And I think right now what happened is, I came to a realization that spirituality versus religion are two different things,
Yes.
even though one has similar elements of the other, And I feel like now the definition that I've come up with now is spirituality is a personal experience of the divine,
Right.
and religion is someone else's perspective and experience of the divine. So it's no longer a personal experience. And obviously, us as Africans, we've been known a lot for our spiritual, upbringing and our nature as
Yes.
well. So I would like to zero in a little bit on what you and your spirituality basically represent, and where it comes from and what your understanding of spirituality actually is. So what do you actually think spirituality is, like in its essence, the way you understand it?
Wow. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Yes.
To me, spirituality is humanity in a whole.
Okay.
I feel like that void that we always feel we need to fill, it is spirituality.
Yes.
Going back to what you said, that you grew up in a Christian family, same thing with me.
Yeah.
You understand? And a person always wonders, how did you get here if you grew up Christian,
Yeah.
And I used to be those type of Christians, who tell you sangomas are...
Yeah. There's been a lot
I was
of
one
that.
of those, eh? I was one of those. And then until the time came when I had to undergo, this journey.
Okay.
And I came in with a really, really negative mindset, on some, maybe, my family was right. This is, this is hectic. My soul is in danger. Oh my God.
Yes.
Lord, forgive me, And then you realize, Guti, actually, bubuntu lo.
Okay.
Indlela yokuphila. It's a way of being you ukuthi uzifumane wena.
Yes, yes.
Ayikho indlela you can heal yourself wena as umuntu ngokuzazi. That is why we always feel the need to be reconnected all the time. So to me, spirituality is humanity itself.
Yeah.
You know,
In itself.
yes, I feel like all religions connect.
Yeah.
You know, everything connects.
Everything connects. And
Everything connects.
it's actually quite crazy because we normally have these conversations with some of the gents, and we come. It's almost like we come to a particular conclusion. Obviously, there's certain viewpoints that are very different, but then the overall still basically says the same thing. The same way that you say like all these maybe these religions and whatnot are saying the same thing, you know. And look, we just coming from different cultures and we have different interpretations of the same thing, and 100% with what you say, like you know, like I feel with that whole spirituality aspect, it's that longing that you trying to find your true self, you know, that sense of belonging. You want to create yourself. You're trying to see beyond the physical spectrum.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people nowadays are very awake to that concept. Like, but I don't think it's just the physical world. Like, there might be some other shit.
You know?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Seeing people being woke, it's the best thing. You know. Yes, it has a negative pole and a positive pole to it. You know, because there's this thing now. You go to why won't go twice.
Yeah.
You understand? But do you want them to be focused on, you know, modern things more? Do you want them to be focused on hippies and all that? Or do you want them to go back to their roots and understand
where it comes from?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you want them to get obsessed to? Drugs?
Yeah.
Or bungo?
Yeah.
Or themselves, you know, their roots. You know, it's a matter of there's a negative pole and positive pole to it. There are statements that, you know, children getting abused in their spiritual initiation.
True,
you know?
true.
And there's also lava bapilayo. You understand? So that's why I'm saying this thing, it's positive and negative at the same time, because they want to undergo these things. Bayagula, they have a calling.
Yes.
It's, you know, they need to do this. And then kukolaba who are finding themselves, you know. And then kukolaba who are misled.
Yes,
you understand? So now we can't control everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is amazing that, you know, people are getting more connected with themselves. Yes.
I think like we're in a different era right now of consciousness. And I feel like consciousness is probably like a keyword, you know, because people are becoming more conscious of what's happening, and they're being more conscious of what's really around, what's actually happening. And you get all of this, obviously, like your sciences nowadays are starting to prove the existence of like the metaphysical realm and all of those type of things. Like it's actually starting to happen, like through quantum physics and all of that type of shit. And you know, like it actually comes back to the next question, especially with regards to like ancient scripts. You know, there's a lot of stories that show the different levels of spirituality, you know, like especially the most popular, you know, doctrines like your Christianity faith, your Islamic faith, you also have your Buddhist faith, your Hindu, and all of that. And basically, again, they're saying the same thing, but in the stories themselves are something that we should try and see how we perceive it, you know, because some people take those scripts literally and some people take it figuratively. And was it a way to say it like in a poetic way, you know, like especially like the King James version of the Bible, you know, it's so poetic. Like if you actually look at the script, it's almost like Shakespearean, you know, like very Shakespearean, you know, thou shalt not, you know, those particular type of concepts. So like they speak of Jesus, you know, being this being who was born from a virgin mother, right, and grew up as a normal boy, and then up to the age of 13, roughly. I think if I got my facts right, up to the age of 13, and then there's not much recollection of his life after 13 to the age of like 33.
Okay.
which is pretty sus the way I look at it. You understand? I'm like, because I feel like there's a lot of these books about our spirituality, right?
Yes.
That were not particularly said, you know, and like I look at the book of Enoch, the Gospel of Thomas. Those are books that are found that were not included in the Bible. And obviously, you have all the other faiths and all African spirituality in itself. Yabo. Certain scripts that were not involved, like included or you know, broadcasted as much. How do you feel like the message was trying to be portrayed with those ancient times? Like when you look at our history as South Africans and you know, all our different traditions and all that, like where does it come from? Like what are they trying to say?
Whew, hectic.
What are they truly trying to say?
Yazi ngicabangani? Ngicabanga ukuthi as like you're saying ukuthi these are books, so it means ukuthi zibhalwe umuntu angithi.
Ubhalwe ngumuntu. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
So I feel like lo muntu
Yeah.
ne was trying to uku paint indlela yokuphila.
Okay.
You know, trying to make humanity be this thing, trying to lead.
Yes, yes.
You understand? Trying to show them ukuthi na indlela
There's the
yokuphila.
path.
You know, people shouldn't try to experiment because, dude, the first story in the Bible,
Yes.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve.
You know, for years people thought it was really an apple, hey? You know,
The
for
forbidden
years.
fruit.
Yeah, for years. I was one of them. I really thought it was
think
an
I
apple.
was too. Yes.
I really thought it
For
was
a
an
while.
apple. And then you like, but when Daganjan, why did you create lazy, you know, genitalia if
Yes.
awufuna ukuthi bayisebenzise?
True.
Uyabona ukuthi ngithini? That is where it confuses me. Then
I
I'm
think there was
like,
a lot of politics to it.
yes.
And the whole politics to it basically shaped the way we look at it, right? Especially even nowadays, like our African spirituality, like you look at how it's being portrayed nowadays, especially since obviously there was the scramble for Africa, you know, and European countries and the West and all of them tried to get their claws into a little piece of Africa, knowing as rich as it is in its spirituality and all of that. And now there's this missing link that Africans themselves like seem to be slightly disconnected from their spirituality,
Yes,
right? How do you feel like society in itself, our society as Africans, especially also like, I think Africa in itself is a collective home for all Africans, you know,
yes.
and we all share similar histories, you know, and those histories in themselves are our heritage, you know. Do you feel like society still really knows about that? Do you think they're still very educated about their true traditions and spirituality? Outling?
No. Why ngisisho?
Yeah.
Because sifunda every day.
Yeah.
We are always eager to learn.
Okay.
You know, I feel like as much as sinayo knowledge yokuthi siqhamuka kuphi, singobani, we still want to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah, understand?
Yeah.
So I feel like every day we are getting there, and that's what's exciting about life and about spirituality
True.
itself. You know, it's the thing of Uguti, you know, this thing is interesting. What more is there? You
What
know,
more is there
trying
to
to learn more. It's what's amazing to
Yeah.
you know about spirituality.
Yeah.
You know itself. So I feel like we are still learning,
Mm.
and don't forget the world. You know, we are evolving too.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say in a way siyaphambili. Also technology is kind
Yeah.
of taking over.
It's taking over.
So kunzima.
We have to have a choice
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, we need to balance this shit. Yeah.
But then yeah, I think we're still learning, and that's what's amazing, you know. Akekho umuntu onothi ngiyazi yonke into.
Yeah.
You understand?
True.
That is what's
100%.
amazing ukuthi sihlezi siyahlangana and we're spreading knowledge to each other. you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're still getting
Slowly
to this together.
getting it.
Yes.
Yeah, together.
Yes,
like it's
together,
it's
not alone.
yeah, you can't do it
ngeke.
alone. You can't do shit. You know, okay. now I want to get to another part, right? This part is more to do with look, I love research, right? And I like to go to like ancient civilizations and actually looking
Yeah,
at
yeah.
how they went about things, you know, and what their texts are actually trying to say. You understand? And obviously, I would read into like obviously like the Bible in itself and how it was written. You understand? And one thing I think I found is that it seems like it was written in parables. You know, there were certain scriptures, and when I look at the context of how it was written, you know, is because obviously there were the Romans and whatnot, also a big influence towards the people of God, if we call it that. You understand? And the only way they could portray the messages was through these parables, like almost
Yes.
like metaphors. You understand?
Yes. And then there's the New Testament
And then
that
there's the New
changes all
Testament.
of
Everything
that.
just changed all of a
Yes.
sudden. You understand? And then there's ancient Sumerian texts, like things from like the Middle Eastern tradition, right? I want you to hear this shit, right? And tell me what you think about this. So apparently, there's the birth of civilization, right? So there's a whole story of like the whole Sumerian culture, and the whole Sumerian culture like focuses on these Anunnaki gods,
Okay.
right? And supposedly these Anunnaki gods helped human civilization advance spiritually, technologically,
All
and like in all aspects, basically. You understand? And at a very fast pace, right? And this is Sumerian culture, right? And then you look at the Egyptians. They also talk about like in Sumerian culture, they spoke about gods about Enlil and Enki, right? Those are
Okay.
like the names of it, right? So obviously each culture has these stories, right? Then you have Greek mythology as well, right? And Greek mythology is speaking about Hercules and all of them, you know, and it's beautiful stories. And you've got this whole race of Atlantis, right? Which they've been speaking about a lot in the National Geographic for like the past few years, right? This lost city, you know,
Yes,
of an advanced
underwater.
underwater civilization. Like they got taken
High
by the
tech.
wave, high tech. Like they were more advanced than us, type of shit. Like how, you know? And when you look at Egypt, for an example, like if we're stepping into Africa again, right? We started Egypt, for an example. Egypt was probably like the most richest culture that the world knows about, right? And some of the things that happen in Egypt is completely different. The stories themselves speak about different realities, like different states of spirituality, like understanding that maybe we are part of the all of everything, right? They did not believe in things like death. You know, they don't believe in death. They believe like death is an illusion. Because again, I would even say like even science would say, is it metaphysical? Is it physical? You understand? Like what you're experiencing, right? And like when you look at those ancient civilizations, like based on what I just told you, and you look at the pyramids as well, well aligned with Orion's belt, this the 3-star system, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
perfectly aligned, right? Those rocks are tons and tons. It would take so many
And
men
apparently
20
aliens
years.
helped, ne?
Apparently,
That's
like
the okay.
there's that story as well. I actually wanted to
Yeah.
get to that. I was like, what do you think? Like, what would be your first reaction to that?
I would believe the alien bot. Devs.
Because like I don't know, man. Like,
Devs, because
uh,
the whole thing around that pyramid is, you know,
it's ridiculous.
it's yay.
There's some shit going
You know?
on.
Um, and how it's built, you know,
Yeah.
the whole thing. Ukuthi abantu bakudala bayente kanjani? How is it still standing? The
Yeah.
whole thing around it.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I would definitely go with the alien part.
Yeah.
On some, yeah.
But then you see that part is very hard for people to grasp because you know the way it's been portrayed over time, like hey, fucking flying saucer, green aliens, hey, you know they made it so comical, you know. But then now we realize that in our ancient cultures, you know, almost every single ancient civilization has records of alien encounters. And first of all, like I hate to use the word skeptic, but like I'm somewhat of a skeptic, right? And I'm always thinking like, okay, what if not? right? I always have to keep an
Yeah.
open mind. Like, what if? And most people are like, I don't know, eh? That seems a little bit far-fetched. I'm like, how far-fetched is it? Do you think we're the only ones in the universe?
Yeah.
Are they not part of this whole universal experience? That we maybe are at a lower level of consciousness, and this is why you say maybe there's this need for us to go to a different level.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
are trying to. So when you think of that,
I feel like we are trying to, and we are getting there, guys, because something feels like
it's calling.
yes,
Like something is
yeah.
actually calling you. Yeah.
So it feels like yeah, we are almost there, but that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
And that's why we continue living.
Yeah.
It's what gives you that thing.
It gives you that thing,
Yes.
that motivation to continue living. As much as I speak about these other general parts, especially like all those other ancient civilizations, and then you get back to Africa in itself, like especially, okay, yes, Egypt, were very well known worldwide.
Yes.
But then you also have like the Zulu tradition, the Xhosa tradition. We have sangomas like Okredo, Obab Credo. He basically enlightened a generation in itself,
Yes.
you understand, and made so much waves from since he was born. I think he was born like 1920, 1921, all the way until recently. He didn't die too long ago, apparently.
Isn't it
Credo Moto.
2019? I'm not sure.
2019. I think so,
2020,
probably around about that time. And
Yeah.
during his time, the amount of influence that he spoke about African spirituality, like he was trying to portray,
Fulfill
yeah,
his
like he was trying to
duty as
fulfill
a
these
Sanus.
yes. I don't know, like a lot of people have their opinions about Desmond Tutu, for example, like he's also one. But then, yeah, maybe not on the same level, maybe different levels, maybe different contexts, right? But then, like people who devote themselves to that particular calling,
Yes.
trying to send the message, trying to spread the message, especially to your fellow Africans. So when you think about us as Africans, right, and we look at O Credo Motwa and the philosophies that he laid down and the amount of impact that he had about Africa worldwide, because now he was worldwide, like everybody knew about him.
Yes.
And you start looking at the Kenyan tradition, like the Maasai culture and all of that. The Maasai culture is very interesting.
Very
You look at
interesting.
the Maasai culture, the Kenyans are very interesting themselves. I think they're the tallest people in the world. Their level of spirituality by body, mind, and consciousness, like all of that is almost intact. Their health, their diet is on point. So that's part of the African spirituality. Like they understand how the body works. They've known this through the eons or the
Yes,
civilizations
yes,
and the
yes.
generations that they've had. So how do you think like the way we've come as a civilization to see ourselves as that, as Africans, and looking at our history and defining ourselves through our African spirituality and tradition, how do we shape ourselves today? Like how is the average person, I'm telling you, average black person, like how do they think today? Like do they think more Western or do they think more African? Like where is the spirituality? Is the spirituality more on the European American side or is it still African?
I'd say it's still African because thina bantu abamnyama as in Africans now,
Yeah.
we are people who are very rooted to ourselves.
Okay.
Okay. That is one thing
We're
that
known
we
that.
have
We've known for
compared
that.
to any country.
Yeah.
Africa is rooted to what it has always been. We haven't lost that thing, ukuthi Africa. So we are still there, but again, like we said, technology,
Technology.
is kind of taking over a bit, but we are still rooted in a way. Nababantu bayathwasa, nakho there's still initiation. Zininzi izinto esisazenza that keep us
Yes,
connected
that's
to
still
ourselves.
there, yes. Don't you think like slowly but surely they are trying to eradicate those
Yes,
traditions?
Yes, because we got COVID,
Yeah.
and now there was a young man who came back from initiation with a chopper, you know.
Oh yes,
So
I think
it
I
was a
know that
big story, you know.
Yeah.
Go to Soma Kwaze Moyeni, all that. You
Oh
understand?
yes, yes.
I feel like yeah, wanna the COVID, like what you're saying, I'm agreeing with it because I'm like, it's kind of, you know, like ngoka kusayenza imithandazo like for imingcwabo because kaloku COVID kind of restricted us from
Yeah,
doing
takes
specific
away
things.
something.
Now people are just like, actually, right, man, into yengabe nemithandazo because you're safe, you know, that all time.
Yeah,
So
everyone's
we are
thinking money.
slowly kind of losing,
Yeah.
you know, because so nyani lento ithethayo yiyo.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yiyo, we are slowly kind of.
So,
You know.
you know what? I actually wanted to also get into look the way we've been influenced as Africans. We have our own culture. We are known to be these
Yes.
natural beings living off the land. You know, we know our own ancient African folklore and all of those type of things. And like then there was the whole influence of like Christianity and Islam that came into Africa that just basically filtered into Africa.
Yes.
So you basically have most of the north of Africa influenced by Islamic culture, you know, and then you have some of the lower parts of Africa influenced by the Christian faith. Right, because of obviously the scramble for Africa again, you come back to that of how we were influenced over centuries, you know, and especially I think it happened in like 1886 if I'm not mistaken, you know, round about that time till now, most Africans either are Islamic or Christian.
Yeah.
Most of our true African spirituality has been lost in translation. Well, that's what I feel, right? And obviously there might be other angles to it. You understand? Maybe, you know, because look, there's Portuguese now. There's Portuguese capitals. There's French
Yes,
capitals.
yes.
You know, there's Dutch capitals, which is probably us at some level. You know, Afrikaans is probably just like rooted from that as well. And over time, there was these influences. So Christianity and Islam. Do you think at some level it fits in with our spirituality, or do you think spirituality is all encompassing, like it covers each angle?
Oh, I really don't know how to answer that.
Like it's
But
uh,
the thing is, we should all try living through Earth
okay,
using our five senses.
okay,
You understand? Zonke. Because now we are mixed kakhulu. Kunama mixed race, sixubene, ininzi into eyenzekayo, and it's difficult for people to find their roots lately because of lezinto. So manje lento idala confusion eningi yabona, and izinto abantu abakhula nazo.
Okay.
You understand? And now that's why I'm saying I think we should focus on, you know, living through, you know, through Earth,
Nature.
using our five
Senses.
senses. Meaning, le ikulungelayo, ile
that works for you.
iphilisayo.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Because now, if you realize ukuthi mangiphahla without sage,
Okay.
mhlambe I just want to use water. I
Yes,
feel
yes.
better if I don't burn sage, or I feel better when I do burn sage. You do what works for you.
Yes.
You know, that's why I'm saying ukuthi sonke sikwazi ukululama is when we realize ukuthi you can't force someone, number one, into religion.
True.
You understand? And you can't tell umuntu ukuthi which path they should take.
Yeah.
Uyabona? Because ekugcineni kuzoba khona void. So you
Always
should
that
let
void.
someone flow through their five senses, using actually
Their own.
five senses.
I think the five. You see, I think the five senses is almost like the experience.
Yes, the whole
The whole,
experience.
yeah,
yes,
the individual
whole
experience. You can only take it from there. Nah, don't worry. Take
Oh my
it.
god. He's calling me.
I actually allow it. Can answer and tell him we're on a podcast and say
Fine,
hi
man.
for me.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it on silent.
Nah, don't worry
I
about
can't answer that now. No, it's a client, so
it. See, it's business. We gotta get. It's understandable. I don't even think I have my phone on silent, number one. So anything could go either way right now. Could have been me. It could have
I
been
did
me.
not expect that.
So you see, with the whole Islamic faith, I feel like maybe there's the maybe part, right?
I'm not
Obviously,
really enlightened on the
yeah.
Islamic
Yeah, you look,
Okay.
you see, Islam is also very, very interesting religion and faith because it goes so deep into devotion, and especially with your actions. There are certain actions
Teaching
that lead,
restraint.
and yeah, there's
Okay.
that element, and they have a lot of influence this side, especially with Nigeria, and Nigeria is like the biggest I think group tribe. I think the Yoruba, if I'm not mistaken, like the Yoruba people, they're like some of the biggest tribes, and most of them are actually, maybe I could be wrong, but I think most of them are actually Islamic. They're Muslim,
Really?
right? Because then I think, look, I live in a certain part of this area, and some of the Nigerian guys that I know are actually Muslim, you know,
Okay.
and I'm thinking like there's a lot of influence to that, and it's all about Allah, 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 and with Christians it's Jesus, God, Jesus,
Yes, yes.
and you've got Krishna, you've got Muhammad, you've got Buddha, you've got all these people that we keep, I think Shaka is about to be a god, basically in folklore, because Shaka was
things.
taken differently. Eh? He was taken completely differently. He almost seems like a myth. He
That's
probably
why I'm saying he was doing the things.
he was
bruh.
doing the things like you became such a legend that you just seem like a myth, the man, the myth. So, do you think the youth today knows about this spirituality? Like, do you think I'm at 2000? I hate to say that, but hey, it's what's
Yeah.
basically the description. Do you think they understand spirituality? Do you think they are lost in translation of spirituality, or they're a different generation that is actually slightly more enlightened? Also, in like including the technology of it.
Yes.
You understand, like almost like mixing spirituality and technology. Do you think there's that new age that humanity is
is.
going into?
There is that new age.
No
because-
AI, AO.
Yo, AI. There is that
Stepping
new age,
into it,
because there are things that you find out when you're an adult.
Yeah.
But that now kunabantwana bakhule bezazi.
Okay.
Such as now kunezingane ezithwasa zincane kakhulu.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, very, very young.
So I feel like nyani kunabogobela abano 10 years,
Yeah.
8 years
I've
old.
seen a lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, man, yonke lento.
They look so cute, but they look so conscious.
so woke.
Like so
It's
woke. You're like,
amazing.
hey, you're like 10. Like, supposed to be a kid. Like, be happy. Like, here's a sweet. Like, And this kid is
Yes.
like,
That's
you
why
really
I'm
think
saying
all I
we
need is a
are
sweet?
Evolving.
We are evolving as a
We are
species.
evolving. Spiritually. Food.
Spiritually.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we can
Spiritually
only stay in one spot for
No.
too long.
No.
We can't stay. Okay, then there's the crazy part again that we're gonna zero into there. Especially the mere fact that our evolution, right? I'm gonna put it this way. Humanity now is known to be a civilization that came from a certain evolution that we say with science, or Charles Darwin, that will say the whole evolution of man from
Big
ape
Bang.
to, yeah, and then there's also the Big Bang theory
Yes.
and all of that, and then there's religion saying no, God just went, let there be light, that's how it is, and I feel like there's a connection between that, right? Between science and spirituality, because those are not the questions to be asking. It's like whatever exists is what we are. This is what we are. And now when we look at our history, they start speaking about encounters with the gods. And I understand that even the Hindus have like about, I don't know, it could be 50 gods, I don't know.
Yes,
There's a
yes,
god
they
for
have a lot of
everything.
gods,
You know,
yes.
which is pretty dope, I think. But then there was also the whole thing of like, let's try and get one god. It makes sense just to have one god. Like, no, your god is wrong, my god is right. But then you come to 2022, people are like, I don't even know which god is wrong. All right.
Then just live
Then just
using
live.
those 5 senses.
Yes.
You get
come
my
back
point
to the
now.
5 senses.
Yes, yes.
You just control
Just-
it through that.
Yeah.
So these guys, they speak of these sky gods, right? There was an account, especially on YouTube. Sometimes I like to just go there and see some of the documentaries, right? and there's an account called The Fifth Kind, right? And they speak so deeply about even those Anunnaki gods and the whole alien theory,
Yes.
right? And they think that, we were advanced very quickly, especially after, no, like obviously it was in our ancient civilizations, and then we came to World War One and World War Two, right? And then after World War Two, nowadays it's being hypothesized that as soon as we got into nuclear war, they returned because they're like, these guys are on a different level now. They're starting to play with, it's like kids playing with fire.
All right.
You understand? They come back. The same type of supposed individuals that were written in ancient scripts, or Enlil and Enki, as I mentioned earlier,
Yes.
that were known in Sumerian culture, are known as, one of them was apparently, these are mythologies if we look at them that way. But then we don't only have to look at them as only mythologies, because some of these things were written in certain ways, and they were expressing themselves in different ways, And Enlil and Enki apparently gave the human civilization an awakening of the third eye,
All right.
right? They enhanced human spirituality and DNA. Apparently, look, if you literally look at Sumerian it's hieroglyphics, and obviously Egyptian hieroglyphics, there's drawings there showing godlike beings giving over a cone-like shape, and in almost every culture in the world there's this cone-like shape representing this pineal gland, this whole third eye
Yes,
concept. And people kind of think they know what it is. I think I know what it is. Everybody think they know. But like, okay, what would your whole idea be about us being enlightened by other beings? Like,
I've actually read something
Ah,
online that
okay.
these gods are kind of back living among us,
Yes.
such as example aliens.
Yeah.
They're back living among us, helping us, evolve. They're the ones, who are pushing us through, coming
current
up
situation.
with the technology.
Uh.
About Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the point to go to. What I was reading online, it was that Elon Musk is some type of an alien because of
I see those type of
his
those type of
dope
articles.
brain, and then
He's different, eh? He's very different.
He's very
I don't know. I don't know if he's in tune with his spirituality, but he just seems weird, But he's trying to. Look. I think everybody Elon Musk are like people that we breed out of civilization, like out of society. Like we need out of our need as society. Those people come.
Aliens, okanye the gods,
Yeah.
are helping us sober drop just one person, When you go Elon Musk, okay, non age, so that he can,
Yeah.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
There was even the story of Unanseka or Ezekiel, like in the book of Ezekiel.
The Bible.
Yeah, the Bible. And he speaks about thinking that I don't know if it was an angel or God himself arrived to him, which is understandable. You can say that if you're speaking about religion, but then he's talking about an actual craft. He's detailing the craft.
All right.
And like it landed, he described the wheel structure. Look, if you are a god, you're not gonna travel in a spaceship. You can just like
Wheels.
pop into like
With
existence with wheels. What? Like where are these wheels coming from? Like there's literally a whole thing about this. I was like, wait, guys. I hear this. Let me go double check this. And I go and check. It's literally there in the book of Ezekiel. They explain about that encounter that he had with an apparent angel or god. You dissect. That's why I say.
No, man, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
You must hear this. I actually want you to go to go to the story of Ezekiel and the encounter that he had with the gods. You must go and look at that particular experience when it's written in detail, because King James Version, right? And then there's also what is the other one? Was it NV something? What is it called?
The new version.
New version, don't. They speak about they're trying to like explain it in a certain way. But in the Old Testament, you see, this is why the New Testament was just doing its own thing. Like, because it was trying to cover a couple of tracks of what they said in the Old Testament. Because you say as well earlier, but there's like a bit of a difference
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Like there's there's this idea of it and there's this idea of it, you know. So when I look at the book of Ezekiel and I look at the Hindu religion, they also look at they say they were having vimanas. The gods had vimanas. They explicitly explained what those vimanas were, and those were crafts. They have them in some of the ancient drawings that these gods were traveling in actual crafts. So now you start asking yourself, as an open-minded person, but okay, are these actual gods? Are these actual gods? You know, like from the sky? Are they many gods for real, or are these alien civilizations influencing human, like evolving and evolution and all that?
There's also a thing of Uguti, there's always truth within a lie.
Yes.
You understand Uguti? Even if it's a made up story or it's folklore, you understand it comes somewhere.
It comes from somewhere. When they smoke, there's fire.
Because I'm just like, what if the aliens were visiting? But also, I have the thought of dinosaur time.
Hey, that one is also tricky. Eh?
Dinosaur time.
That was like millions of years ago, like 65 million years ago, I think.
Was it before?
You see, that's the other thing that I also have. Like,
Yeah,
was it before?
Enlightenment?
Was it before Enlightenment? The one thing that I have about it now is, hey, I've got this weird theory. Like, I feel like there's more to it than what the books say, and there's bigger stories way before. Like, you know, like I respect every written script from every culture. Like, I understand where they were coming from and which angle they were coming from, you know. But then, was there something before that? You know, if there's a supposed Atlantis, for an example, that lost city underwater, like, you find all the advanced shit about it. Then what? Because there was a period on Earth where there was the Great Flood, and then only then apparently
Atlantis,
it vied. Like, what was happening during Atlantis? Apparently they were advanced. You know what they started finding? They started finding evidence of machinery during those times, and they were like, "How?" They were like, "How? This is a perfect drill hole. Our machines are trying to do that nowadays. They are trying to do that. How did these guys get it that good?" So what level of consciousness were they that they could enhance their technology with their spirituality and literally make it one concept? Because they infused spirituality and technology into one whole thing.
Which is what seems to be happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a loop. It's like it's coming back.
Yes, it's like it's coming back, man. That's why I'm like, but then
the tricky one. Like, I always think about that.
Okay, now it's taking me back to the aliens.
Yeah, that's true.
It's taking me back to
it's
the
like,
aliens.
how could it not? Like, what else is there?
But there's also a thing, Ogoti, we are evolving to get back there.
Probably.
Yes, because, example, dinosaur time. Apparently now, there's dinosaur eggs.
Yeah.
There's laboratories where they're making, dinosaurs. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, they're like, if we can make this, probably somebody did make it in the beginning.
Probably, 100%.
Then where does that leave God?
You understand? So it's a very vague topic.
No PC.
Go PC and
God will create and then there's before Christ.
Hey, you see, even the Africans. Look, Africans have this whole idea that there's these our own gods. Like I read about a god called Bass. And Bass was in the way BC. I don't even know if it was even a BC before something. But then they believed in it in like, I don't know if it was close to northwest Africa or something like that. But then they had that belief of a particular god that portrayed almost Buddha-like characteristics, like almost enlightened, so enlightened that, again, when I said earlier, like, you know, those drawings, you have those drawings of the Mona Lisa and shit like that, and you have the picture of Mary and Joseph and Jesus or whatever the case might be, and then they've got that halo behind their head, and I'm like, All the cultures have that. What does that mean? These people are enlightened. Even in Egyptian culture, you actually have people with like round halos and shit.
And
Like,
then
what does
in
it
movies,
represent?
angels have it.
Angels have it. Are those
And
angels?
angels are a sign of purity and light.
Yes. You see, like even Africans also engaged with Hinduism and all of the other you know, spiritualities as well. Because it's almost like we were almost peaceful spirituality. We understood pure nature. And then we had other rituals which are also quite controversial as well, but then they also signify certain things. Every culture has its own particular rituals. And I think the rituals, what do you think about the rituals? What do they represent about us in different cultures? I don't know, your own experience.
Rituals. Which
Yeah,
type of
especially
rituals?
like
Slaughtering.
African spirituals. Yeah, like rituals. You have like the slaughtering, you have umsebenzi, and you have all of that, and you know what they represent for a funeral, for a wedding, for someone's birthday, for someone going to the mountain, for this, for that. You understand? Like there's those different practices, and then there's also spiritual practices as well. Specifically, what do you think about the spiritual, like the rituals? Like what do they do for you? Like there's also that concept, like what would they do for a person, like when you do a certain ritual? Does it enhance you spiritually? Does it allow you to tap into a certain reality and a certain power? You understand? Do like Sangoma people, for an example, nah, understand the metaphysical realm so well that it almost seems like maybe magic.
The whole thing of
The way it's perceived as well.
yeah, yeah. The whole thing of what is this that you're saying? Sorry.
Uh, the when I was saying the whole sangoma and
Rituals,
the
yes,
rituals,
yes.
like
First
yeah,
of all, we do rituals so that they can be a outcome.
outcome.
Banesatu, in
Okay,
order to do a ritual, whether it's bad or good. There's
okay,
always a reason,
a reason
and there
behind
always
it.
has to be, an outcome.
Okay,
So, certain rituals, for example, ogoluk,
okay,
you know, they are made so that gutiwa, a boy becomes a man. These are rituals as in why so that many outcome.
yeah,
And honestly, we see on our little brothers,
mm,
mabebuya, they look changed,
mm,
they
different.
respect you, they're
They're
different.
different.
You mean
You've
you
learned
feel like
something.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
he's better. I know he's a man.
he's
Yeah,
a
now
man
I
now.
can tell.
Uh,
And I would say yes, rituals zethu, we take them as a very important thing to do because kunama outcomes and they teach us indlela
way of
yokuphila.
life.
Yes.
So it
It's
teaches
like
your way of life.
it
Okay.
keeps it balance. Yeah, understand. It keeps balance ukuthi okay, I need into zamazilungi, so mhlambe ngidinga imbeleko, which is a ritual also. Yeah, understand that you have to undergo where your family is there. Alcohol is brewed for the ancestors. Ukuthi okay, umntana siyamkhusela nanku,
Yeah.
akombathanga siyambathisa.
Yes, yes.
And then you realize ukuthi okay, my life is actually
Yeah. It's there.
it's better now.
It's better.
Things are opening up, and you realize yeah, I needed that.
Yeah.
It's also reminding us don't forget your roots. Yeah,
True,
understand?
true.
It's also a
Yeah.
matter of reminding
Reminding,
umuntu ukuthi
remembrance.
yes, usuka kuphi,
Yeah.
ukuthi makungalungi always go back.
Always go back. Yeah.
So
Track
it's like
back.
it's a matter of ukuthi yeah, kune technology, but also abantu bakithi are fighting
Yes.
at the same time.
Yeah.
They still want to be there. They are aware ukuthi lezi zinto zenzeka. So they're still trying to be with us.
Yeah, like I always look at the way we have this hunger to go and like look outwards. Like we've got this particular destiny to go outwards and try and find something more than earth. Yeah, but we're trying to advance our spirituality even deeper to understand different metaphysical states. Yeah, but that's why I'm even saying like even next week we're gonna have like a whole science segment. Yeah, but where we go into the metaphysical even deeper. So those who doubt spirituality are gonna hear a different angle about it. How science nowadays is actually supporting spirituality. You understand? It's actually explaining how Jesus could walk on water. People don't even understand that, like how that concept is actually possible. So the concept is apparently Jesus was one of those yoga masters, right?
What?
And he basically practiced yoga to a deeper level, right? To the point where there's this whole concept of meditation, right? You get to a point of meditation for years. You'll do it for years consistently, right? You raise your electrical system, which is part of your spiritual system, right? And once you enlighten it, you're going towards your third eye consciousness and your crown chakra. This is why I always say the crown chakra is that glow that they have in those pictures, like those ancient pictures. And Jesus was one of those who had that halo, right? So they're basically saying energy wise, he was vibrating at the same frequency as nature itself, so he could adapt. So xa Jesus walked on water, his energy and frequency upon the water was different to an average man. His consciousness was different. So his whole body was that conscious, mentally, spiritually, and physically. He was in that state. You understand? He had already mastered the body, had mastered the mind, now had mastered spirituality. He became the Christ. Because don't forget, his name was not Jesus Christ from get-go. He was Jesus, and then he became Jesus the Christ when he was 33. So there was something he was doing before 30, when he was 13 to 33.
Yeah,
So
that
what was he
blind spot.
doing? That blind spot, that's a huge blind
Yeah,
spot.
it's a blind spot.
That nigga was probably doing yoga. He probably
kidding
enlightened. You know why? You know why I always think that? I think of it because there's that whole story of the whole 40 days and 40 nights, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
whole
Pray
concept.
without ceasing.
Yeah, you're doing nothing. So I also look at it in the concept of fasting. You're fasting. You're in a different state of spirituality and meditation. That look at the Buddhists. The Buddhists are on a different level. They're just meditating for days, you know, and the systems allow them because their spirit is in control, not the mind. The mind is probably okay.
But you know what I realized through everything that you said?
Yeah,
Everything links.
Everything
what
links.
you just explained.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, Uktwas, the journey of Uktwas. The training,
yeah,
you know, being taught bona enye indlela, being a better person. Ukuphuza isilawu igobongo ukuthi uvuleke, ukwazi ukuhlola umuntu, tapping
Tapping
to
into-
another, ukwazi ukuthi usize umuntu, you understand?
Yeah.
Ukuze ukwazi ulanda umhlola, you have to be in a specific spiritual state, which sounds like lento ithethayo
Yeah.
ukuthi he was supposed to fast, he was supposed to do
Yeah,
this,
supposed
he went to he did yoga,
Yeah.
you know, yonke lento. I don't know the thing
it's,
about
it's
yoga.
quite crazy because there's the book of the Gospel of Thomas, but then even that in itself speaks of Jesus' true teachings. Yabo? But then that's another topic in itself, right? But then there's the book. I'd actually encourage you to go and look for the Gospel of Thomas.
Yes, because I've never heard
It's
of it.
it's actually one of the books that was not involved it was not included in the Bible. It's one of the
For real?
30 something books that were not included in the Bible because the Bible
There is something.
there's so many books that were left out of the Bible. Don't forget they found the Dead Sea Scrolls not too long ago, like a few years ago. And they found all of these things. Literally, I will send you documentaries. I think I've given these guys those documentaries. Like genuine shit. Like they found
Guys,
them and they're saying different
from
shit.
Genesis to Revelation. That's all I know. Genesis,
Yeah.
all the
Don't
books
forget
from
there were
Genesis,
those. There
I
were,
didn't know
apparently there were
which
those
there was.
scholars, those biblical scholars that chose which ones should be included for the sake of society.
In
When
the
I
book.
said that whole thing of politics started playing a role, but then that's a whole topic in itself. But
So
then,
really, they
yeah.
were trying to ukwenza indlela yokuphila.
Yes, they were they were designing their own
Yes.
particular system apparently, but then that's that. I'm glad that
Oh, I
at
didn't
least
know about
we
Thomas.
you see
That's
exactly the
interesting.
Gospel of Thomas. I swear I'll probably show you that shit. I'll get it probably even before you leave. I'll probably send it to you. It's very interesting. It's apparently his true teachings by doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas was shown after doubting Jesus. And then he was the one who was shown the most and was taught the most by the scriptures itself. So we're going to focus on the whole metaphysical part of what Jesus also speaks about in the Gospel of Thomas,
Yeah.
right? And he speaks about us being like him. Like he's not the special one. He's the one who portrays the message, the way, the truth, and the light, because he recognizes himself as that rather than the body. We still recognize ourselves as the body. So we're still trying to find that spirituality aspect of ourselves.
Yes.
So next week, we're going to be focusing on that, and I'm very happy that you actually came through. This was a beautiful conversation. I think you added a lot of perspective to me as well. But hopefully, any audience that hears this also, gains a lot of perspective
Yeah.
and a different view, especially about our spirituality, especially when you look at it from different angles. And every culture does matter. We obviously try and zero in on certain ones, but then every particular culture had a particular thing to say.
Yeah.
And I think that is very important. So next week we're going into the whole quantum physics science, and we might just tap into the whole space travel type of shit, where the whole Elon Musk and them, where they're going, where are these guys going?
Are they really
I'm sure they're trying to go somewhere. They're trying to be president of Mars or something. you try to do something, but it's pretty interesting. I feel like those are also questions that we need to ask and dive into those type of topics, because people always think of quantum physics as some like crazy Einstein hair bending type of experience and looking like you got shocked by an electrical socket after you're done with quantum physics. But then it's how how it's basically put out, and it actually explains this spirituality aspect. That's why I said there's going to be angles to this. So we're looking at it from our belief system. And then next week we're going to be looking at it from the metaphysical, the science, and all of that. So hopefully you guys jump in, join us again to the Blue House Secrets. We really love having you through. Spend some time, enjoy, have a drink with us. We will really enjoy that. Join the topic. No matter how you can reach us, just reach us. Maybe we might have you on the podcast, and we really love that. But otherwise, you have anything else to say? Do you want to deliver any truth, anything that you want to throw at the people by any chance? Or do you feel like you've said what you need to say?
Yeah, but we should all continue believing in ourselves.
100%. Believe in
at
that.
all times,
Mm-hmm.
and always remember, live using your five senses.
Using your five senses.
If you
okay.
can feel ukuthi it's destroying you,
Yek.
doesn't matter if ukuthi ngubani oshoyo okanye what is at risk. If you feel like your soul is in danger and you are in danger, then leave.
Yeah. I don't think we can disagree with that. My head was just nodding the whole time. No, I really respect that. I really love that. I really appreciate your input, joining us. Hopefully this message goes out and people also have an angle to put it. Maybe it might be chapter 1. Maybe there might be a couple of more chapters. We might be seeing a bomberclad type of section and segment and see how different people experience the same thing. But otherwise, peace, love, and happiness. I hope everybody joins us next time, and why I say blessings.